Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and I'm a little excited, a little ashamed, a little all sorts of things because today I'm going to be doing my May in and out. So if you've not seen one of these videos, what I'm going to do is tell you everything that I hauled for the month as well as everything that I unhauled for the month. So you guys have heard me talk about our library book sale recently. I went and bought 116 books. None of those are going to be included here. That's going to be its own separate video. And I know you guys have been anxiously waiting to see what I got for 116 books. And that's coming. I promise it's coming. But that's not this. I have a massive haul here that is in addition to that. Now, the reason why is because May is my birthday month. It's Mother's Day. And so you're probably thinking like, oh, people are giving her gifts. That's great. That's so kind. No, that's not what happens. Nobody buys me books for my birthday or Mother's Day or anything because they don't know what I have. They don't know what I want. I don't know. It's just too much. But what does happen for my Mother's Day and my birthday is usually I have more free time. Sometimes on Mother's Day, I'll get to go do whatever I want. And on my birthday, sometime around there, normally my husband will be like, go take a morning and afternoon, do whatever you want. And lately, what I've been wanting to do is go peruse used bookstores. So that's what I've been doing. My friends at the library bookstore, Half Price Books. We have multiple near us. There's Savers is near us. There's a Goodwill. There's all sorts of places to buy books. So I didn't really hold back. The other thing that happened this month is like I have a teaching ID. And so on Thrift Books, you buy 4, get 1 free all the time. And so I needed a couple things for my kids. And so I got a couple things for them, a couple things for me. That happened more than once. A Pango happened more than once. So guys, let's just get into it. So the unhaul is going to be relatively small because in the month of May, we also had our neighborhood garage sale. And so what I did is I put all of my Pango books and any books that I was unhauling for the month out on a table and sold some of them. And I didn't do a good job of like keeping track. I know I got rid of Chris Bohalian's new one, Princess of Las Vegas. I'll put a picture up. Somebody bought that. There also was a book called Thinner Than Thou that I DNF'd. It's a dystopian about a world in which body image is a religion, which, gosh, scary, not far off, but it's a very stream of consciousness style of writing that I couldn't vibe with. That's gone. A couple of kids' books, all that kind of stuff. So those are not included, but I did get When Faith is Forbidden, 40 Days on the Front Lines with Persecuted Christians. I don't know how I got on some sort of mailing list, The Voice of the Martyrs, but I've been getting a ton of stuff from them, including this book. And I don't know, I am not really interested in this. So I'm going to go ahead and just directly unhaul it. Then we've got, a Jigsaw Jones book that we have 2 of, the Case of the Glow in the Dark Ghosts. These are easy, like, for kind of beginning chapter books, and I would think my daughter would love them, because they're, like, there's pictures on not every page, but every couple, and they're slightly below her. Really, it doesn't matter. She is very, very sensitive to scary stuff, and so, but whatever. This is just a double copy. Then we have Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. This is actually one that Goodreads did me dirty. It said I had not read this, and I have, and so I bought this thinking there was a Kristen Hanna I hadn't read, but I'm wrong. And then we've got Kairos Takes a Leap. This one was so graciously sent to me by the author, but it is a middle grade about the year 2030 and students building gadgets for astronauts. And Kairos, let's see, she is a girl who classmates say when they see her talk to animals, I guess she can talk to animals. She wants to be normal and to win over the captain of the girls' soccer team. So I think it's an LGBTQ book about a dolphin and coding and stuff. I don't know. It just sounds like something I'm not interested in. So I'm going to let this go. Then we have Picture Perfect by Jodi Picoult. I just read this recently. This is about a woman who wakes up in a graveyard with this guy helping her and has no idea who she is or anything. She finds out she is a somewhat well-known anthropologist, and she's well known both for her work in anthropology and because she's married to a famous movie star who is abusive behind closed doors. So it's that whole situation. It was fine. It was just a little drawn out, a lot of talk of abuse, and not something I'm going to read again. Then we have Where Are You Now by Mary Higgins Clark. This is a book about a girl who, her and her mother get a phone call every Mother's Day from her brother that says, like, hey, I'm okay. Don't look for me. And he's been missing for years. And so she's trying to figure out what happened to her brother. And there's a lot involved. And so her own life might be at stake. So those are all the ones that I'm getting rid of. Now let's get into the haul. Okay, are you guys feeling excited or overwhelmed? Or is that just me? Anyway, let's get started. So this one's from the publisher, The Midnight News by Joe Baker. And so this is about 1940 London, and 20-year-old Charlotte Richmond watches from her window as enemy planes fly over. She lost her brother in France, I think, and now she works as a typist for the Ministry of Information and sharing gin and confidences with her best friend Alina and dodging her overbearing father. And then I think she sees a boy on her way to work. She often sees a boy who feeds the birds, an unexpected joy amid the rubble. But every day brings new scenes of devastation, and she loses something and starts to feel a sense of foreboding. So someone is stalking the darkness, targeting her friends, and now he's following her. So this seems like a thriller set in wartime. I don't know. Seems interesting. Next, we have The Mothers by Genevieve Gannon. So, you guys, this cover, this kind of thing gets me every time. And I'm the mother of small children. What is wrong with me? This says, what if the baby you gave birth to belonged to someone else? That's enough to get me. But this is about Grace and Dan Arden. They're in their 40s. They've been doing IVF over and over and over. And now 6 attempts have yielded no results. And each failure, a little piece of their hope dies. So then Priya and her husband Nick are being treated at the same fertility clinic. While they don't face the same time pressure as the Ardens, the younger couple have their own problems. On the same day that Priya is booked for her next IVF cycle, Grace goes in for her final last chance embryo transfer. 2 weeks later, both women get their results. A year on, angry and heartbroken, one of the women learns her embryo was implanted in the other's uterus, and she must make a devastating choice: live a childless life knowing her son is being raised by strangers, or seek custody of a baby who has been nurtured and loved by another couple. Whew, what a decision. On to the next. We have Becoming the Talbot Sisters by Rachel Linden. So this is kind of hard to see, but Rachel Linden wrote my favorite book of last year, which was The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie. So this is about celebrity chef Waverly Talbot. She's built a successful career with her home entertaining show, Simply Perfect. She and her husband, Andrew, have never been able to realize the true desire of Waverly's heart, to become a mother. Meanwhile, her twin sister buries her disappointment and shattered idealism beneath a life spent serving others as an international aid worker in Hungary. When the beloved aunt who raised them passes away, Waverly and Charlie come together in their grief after living years on separate continents. Stuck by a fierce desire to bridge the distance between them, Charlie offers the gift of surrogacy. So we're talking about another infertility book. Soon the sisters find they're in danger of losing their jobs, seemingly putting their dreams on hold. But then Waverly shows up unannounced in Budapest with a plan to rescue Simply Perfect, and the sisters embark on an adventure across Central Europe that can save them both. So, yeah, I don't know. The twins haven't had to rely on each other since childhood, but a dramatic turn in their journey forces them to stand together to save their careers, the baby, and each other. Sounds sweet. And like I said, my hopes are high because I know how much I've liked the author before, so we'll see. Then we have The Women's March by Jennifer Schiavarini, maybe. This is another one that I got from the publishers, no, it's not. The Little Free Library. I forgot about that. We took a Little Free Library tour, me and my girls. So that also happened this month. This is about, and this is an author that I've hauled a lot of and never read. And I think Krista from Books and Jams actually just featured this author too on her authors I have a lot of but haven't read any, and yikes. And then I think she's read one and not loved it. So we'll see. But this is 25-year-old Alice Paul returns to her native New Jersey after years on the front lines of the suffrage movement in Great Britain. Weakened from imprisonment, she's determined to invigorate America's stagnant suffrage movement. 9 states have granted women voting rights, but only a constitutional amendment will secure the vote for all. So, this is 1913, I think. So, about a women's march to get the right to vote, as you might guess. So, a novel of the 1913 women's suffrage procession. So, this is something I have not read a ton about, and so I'm really excited to read it. Hopefully, it's good. Then we have another Jennifer. We have We'll Always Have Paris by Jennifer Coburn. Now, this is a big book. Let's see, how many pages are you? Well, it's almost 400 pages, but it's got very big font and big spacing, so no big deal. How her daughter and her passport taught Jennifer to live like there's no tomorrow. So her main character, it's a mother-daughter memoir. I didn't know that. So this is about a mother and daughter, doing like a bucket list trip on a European adventure. So that sounds great. I'm going to put that in my nonfiction pile, and I don't think I knew that when I bought it, but that's exciting. That would be something I would love to do with my kids someday. Speaking of a chunker, this is A Lineage of Grace. This is by Francine Rivers. So I got this in the Little Free Library, and that is why, because it's 5 stories of unlikely women who changed eternity. And I normally don't like what anthologies or whatever, but I liked what I just read by Francine Rivers, and it was in the Little Free Library, so I figured I would get it. Let's see, we've got the stories of Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, and Mary. And all of these, I love reading about the women of the Bible. My daughter's middle name is Ruth because I love the story of Ruth so much. And I just love reading about all these women. So it'll be interesting. I'm assuming it's like a fictionalized version, but you guys tell me. Then we have Until I Find You by Rhea Fry. So Rhea Fry is an author that I've really enjoyed. And this one is 2 floors, 55 steps to go up, 40 more to the crib. Since Rebecca Gray was diagnosed with a degenerative eye disease, everything in her life consists of numbers. Every day her world grows a little darker and each step becomes a little more dangerous. That is terrifying. Following days of feeling like someone's watching her, Beck wakes at home with the cries of her son in his nursery. When it's clear he's not going to settle, she goes to check on him. She reaches in, picks him up, but it's not her son, and no one believes her. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Again, why do I like these books? It's because they invoke an immediate, emotional charge in me, but something's a little off, I think, if I like these books so much. Then we have The Song Remains the Same by Alison Wynne Scotch. So I like Alison Wynne Scotch a lot. I think she's one of the most underrated here on YouTube. But she's a wife, a sister, a daughter, but she remembers nothing. Now she must ask herself who she is and choose which stories and storytellers to trust. One of only 2 survivors of a plane crash, she wakes up in a hospital with amnesia. Now she must piece together, everything, and with her family, who everybody has their own agendas. So she can't remember, but something just doesn't sit right with the versions of history given by her mother, her sister, and her husband. So, interesting. Then we have The Other Year by Rhea Fry. This is actually one that I have already read and loved. It's about a situation in which I think she's a single mom, or the dad's not really involved. Her and her daughter go on a vacation to, it doesn't say, but whatever. And in one situation, her daughter's swimming in the ocean, lake, whatever it is. And in one situation, she goes under, and the mom's looking at her phone. She looks up, doesn't see her kid, and then her kid pops up. Everything's hunky-dory. In the other situation, the same thing happens. Kid goes under the water. Mom's looking at her phone, looks up, can't see her kid. Kid is not okay. And it's her life unfolding in those 2 situations, and what would have happened differently and what would have been the same. And holy moly, this book hurts. I mean, it's emotional, and the way she writes this experience of loss and just the comparative of the little things we take for granted. Oh my gosh, this was a hard, it was an emotional book, but I loved it. Then we have The Memories of Us by Vanessa Carnevale. And I think this has also, it's got an alternate title, Making Memories of Us or something. Maybe the Keith Urban song or something changed it. I can't remember. But what happens when you forget everything? When Grace Ashcroft wakes after a car crash with severe amnesia, she must choose whether to live a life through other people's memories or start a new one all her own. Discovering her late mother left her an old flower farm, Gracie leaves her fiance, best friend, and forgotten memories behind, hoping to learn who she is now. Torn between wishing she could remember and afraid of what she has now, Gracie starts to wonder, if you had your time over, would you live the same life twice? So, I don't know. It says for fans of Lucy Dillon and Ruth Hogan. I like Lucy Dillon. I have yet to read Ruth Hogan, so we'll see. Then we have Darling Rose Gold by Stephanie Wrobel. And now this is one that used to be so popular, and I haven't heard much about it lately, but it is about is it Munchausen by proxy or whatever? The mom wants to pretend that her kid is sick so she gets attention. I think that's what it, yeah. So for the first 18 years of her life, Rose Gold Watts believed she was seriously ill. She was allergic to everything, used a wheelchair, lived at the hospital, etc. But turns out her mom was just a really good liar. So after 5 years of serving in prison, the mom gets out and with nowhere to go and begs her daughter to take her in, and the daughter says yes. And now I think this is based on a true story. I know there was some controversy about it like kind of being stolen from a true story, but it is fascinating to me. That Munchausen by proxy situation is fascinating. Then we have One Tuesday Morning by Karen Kingsbury. So this is a part of her Tuesday Morning series. This is the first one, and I didn't have it. So it is about 9/11. That's all I really need to know. It's a Christian fiction. It's about a firefighter. Yeah, sounds like, again, these like masochistic books that I love to read because they make me feel something. How about that? Then we have The Hidden Child by Louise Fein. Will the Truth Destroy Everything? I don't know. So this is, let's see if it says 1920s. So Eleanor Hamilton is happily married and is mother to a charming 4-year-old girl, Mabel. Her husband, Edward, is a leading light in the burgeoning eugenics movement, which is designing the very ideas that will soon be embraced by Hitler. But when Mabel develops debilitating epileptic seizures, their world fractures. Their daughter's shameful illness must be kept hidden, or all of his work will be in danger. So she discovers her husband's keeping secrets, and the topic of eugenics is something that is just mind-boggling to me because that happens more frequently than we think. It happened more recently than we think. It says vividly rendered, deeply affecting, and impeccably researched. I have no doubt about that. Next, we have Call the Midwife, but this is by Jennifer Worth. This is a memoir of birth, joy, and hard times. Now, I've never seen the show, and I'm a big stickler, especially lately, for reading the book first. And I really want to watch this show, so I thought I would get the book and see if they're the same thing at all. I don't know. But I, lately have really been wanting to read and watch with my kids, and so I'm like, well, do the same to yourself. So I think this, I'm going to read this and then watch it. Then we have 2 in this YA dystopian series that is so old, Matched and Crossed. And these I found on thrift books or something for cheap. I love YA dystopian. I haven't read them in forever. So let's see. These are so old, and yet I know almost nothing. So in this society, officials decide who you love, where you work, and when you die. And so Cassia has always trusted the society's choices, and when her best friend appears on the matching screen, Cassia is certain he's the one until she sees another face flash for an instant before the screen fades to black. Now she's faced with the impossible choices between Xander and Kai, between the only life she's known and a path no one dares to follow, between perfection and passion. And then this is number 2. I think, is it a trilogy? This is by Ali Condi. I'm not going to read anything about it because it's a second, and I know they just follow along, so there's that. Then we have the Summer List by Amy Mason Doan. This is an arc, and the next 2 are arcs, and I got them either on Pango or Thrift Books, and that's so annoying because you're not supposed to sell those. So I don't know, but this is about Laura and Casey. They're girlfriends who are friends that are girls that were once inseparable. Coming of age in a lakeside hamlet in California, Laura felt connected to her best friend in every way possible as they floated on their backs in the sunlit lake, as they dreamed about the future under starry skies, and as they teamed up for the popular scavenger hunts organized by Casey's mother, who happened to be everything Laura's mom was not. Passionate, artistic, unbound by rules, Laura found herself utterly drawn into their orbit until one summer night when a shocking betrayal sent her running through the pines, down the dock, and into a new life, leaving Casey and a first love in her wake. So now it's 17 years later, and there's a reunion. I don't really know. Sounds sweet. It's got deckled edges, which is not something you normally find in a book like this. So, but I mean, whatever. It's an arc with deckled edges. I'm a little bitter about it, but it's okay. Then we have With Love from London by Sarah Geo. Now, is this part of a series? I think so. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but I have liked Sarah Geo. I've been intrigued by her. There's nothing in this that says what it's about, so we'll just leave it there. I bought it because the author, the cover's cute, and the idea is cute. Kind of reminds me of the Lindsay Kelk series, so we'll see. Okay, so now we're going to the mass market paperbacks. We have the Moonglow Sisters by Laurie Wilde. I also went to a book sale that somebody had in their garage of books that all go to like a scholarship for women who have had their education interrupted because of kids, work, something, financial issues. So women going back to school later in life. And that's where some of these came from. So welcome to Moonglow, Texas, a place where your neighbors know your name and the gentle waves of the Gulf of Mexico lap lazily against the sand. It's a magical spot, especially in the summertime. So this is about the Clark sisters who were brought up by their grandmother, at the Moonglow Inn. They were the Moonglow sisters, and they were inseparable. Then a wedding day betrayal tore them apart and scattered them across the globe, but now they have to come home. So there's Maddie, Shelley, and Gia. So 3 sisters. I have 3 girls. That is like a buzzword for me. I buy all of those. Let's see. Do I have any more in this series? Yes, I think the Keepsake sisters, maybe. Is this part of it? This is, Return to Moonglow. So I don't know. There's this one, and then let's see. I think that's it. These 2 I know are a part of a series together. So the Keepsake Sisters is about Anna Drury, and the woman standing before her was physically like her in every way. How could it be? Is this another sister? Maybe. I don't know. Anna wants to believe that life with her newfound sister will be perfect. But then Amelia reveals the true reason for their reunion. Her kidneys are failing and she could be the perfect match. So I don't think these are maybe related, but it's about 2 sisters in the same town. Is that right? We'll see. Then we have Between You and Me by Susan Wiggs. So Susan Wiggs is hit and miss for me, but I think this is a standalone. I think. This is Caught Between Two Worlds. Caleb Stoltz is bound by a deathbed promise to raise his orphaned niece and nephew in Middle Grove, where life revolves around family, farm, faith, and long-held suspicions about outsiders. When disaster strikes, Caleb is thrust into an urban environment of high-tech medicine and the relentless rush of modern-day life. So that's another thing, like fostering or like adoption of family members is also a buzzword for me. Then Dr. Reese Powell is poised to join the medical dynasty of her wealthy, successful parents. So yeah, then Caleb, a shocking accident brings Caleb into her life, and I am assuming they have a clash of cultures and a romance, and there's courtroom stuff that goes on. So this kind of is giving me like a Jodi Picoult vibe. So we'll see. Then we have One Charmed Christmas by Sheila Roberts. I honestly bought this because of the cover. This might be a part of one of her series. I don't know, but this is about Catherine hoping her Christmas is a bit more jolly than last year. That was the first year without her husband, and with her kids and their families absent. So I don't know. She goes on a cruise. So then I don't know. They come. I think this is women's fiction. I don't know. There's probably romance in it. I don't really know. So is it actually going to be Christmassy, or is it going to be on a cruise? I don't really know. But we will see. Family, friendship, love, and loss all play their part in this perfectly executed plot of the stellar standalone. I love standalone books. Then we have The Summer Girls by Mary Alice Monroe. I've been buying a lot of Mary Alice Monroe lately, and I don't know why. But this is about 3 daughters, 3 months, 3 granddaughters, 3 months, 1 summer house. Again, 3 sisters, that's all I need. The 3 Muir girls adored their summers on Sullivan's Island in South Carolina visiting their grandma. And now the girls are grown and scattered across the country, and Mama senses the fraying family bonds will not survive when she's gone. So she's trying to get the summer girls home to kind of bond the girls back together. Then we have A Week at the Shore by Barbara Delinsky. So all the summary books. 1 phone call is all it takes to lure real estate photographer Mallory Aldiss back to her family Rhode Island beach home. It's been 20 years since she's gone, running from the scandal that destroyed her parents' marriage, drove her and her 2 sisters apart, 3 sisters, and crushed their relationship with her first love. But going home is fraught with emotional baggage, memories, mysteries, and secrets. So it's her 13-year-old daughter comes with her. So there's that. Then we have a little different vibe. We've got Hidden by Fern Michaels. Fern Michaels is hit and miss with me. And it says this is the first in a new series, the Lost and Found books. So let's see. Brother and sister Colin and Luna Bodeman are drawn into a dangerous mystery through an antique with a complicated past. So let's see. Colin is efficient and serious, while his younger sister Luna is a free spirit. When the two launch their furniture restoration shop and cafe, an offshoot of the family's longtime antique business, in an up-and-coming art center, literally, little do they know their unique talents may be the only defense in a matter of life and death. So there's a weird piece that comes into their shop, and they're trying to solve a mystery. Next is Susan Elizabeth Phillips, Breathing Room, and this one I think has terrible ratings. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is, she's lost her money to an unscrupulous accountant and her fiancé to a frumpy older woman, and her reputation to headlines denouncing her as a fraud. Lately, it seems Dr. Isabel Favor, America's favorite self-help guru, can fix everyone's life but her own. So, I don't know. That's really all I need. It's a romance too, I think, but I think these are just fun, classic, women's fiction books. Then we have A Mother's Gift by Charlotte Hubbard. This is a Christian fiction. Let's see. As a young girl, Leah Otto was captivated by Jude Shetler's good looks and talent as an auctioneer. So when Jude, now a widower with 3 children, begins to court her, Leah doesn't hesitate. Other men may not appreciate her tomboy ways, but Jude values Leah's practical nature and her skill with the animals she tends, and both enter the marriage with optimism. Yet 3 months later, Leah feels as if her world is coming down around her. Her twin teenage stepdaughters are pushing far too many boundaries, while the 5-year-old deeply misses his mother. Leah, more at ease in a barn than a kitchen, struggles with her housekeeping duties than a baby is abandoned on their doorstep. Caring for the infant renews Leah's strength to pull her family together. So, sounds good. Then, this is an author that I can't remember who was talking about her, but Catherine Alliott. This is somebody I've been wanting to read forever, and this was the cheapest book on Thrift Books or somewhere. And yeah, Thrift Books says right there. These are thick. This is like almost 600 pages, and I kind of liken this to like Marian Key's books, maybe. They're super thick, but if you kind of tuck in with them, they're good. So let's see. Well, what could I say? I was smitten then. If he was smitten, there we go. I swear I can read. If he was smitten, then I would be too. And I sank back into the whole cozy relationship with a monumental sigh of relief. I didn't have to try too hard, didn't have to be too witty, too amusing, too beautiful. It was like landing on a feather mattress after all those years of being out there. 3 years down the line, however, Rosie's beginning to think that cozy isn't all it's cracked up to be. Bridge parties have never really been her thing, and it would be nice to feel beautiful just once in a while. Enough is enough. It's time to get her life back. So, yowza. We're just going to hang out with Rosie for almost 600 pages. But, I mean, if the author is as good as I heard she was, it's going to be great. Now we're going to get into the hardbacks. So I also am a Book of the Month member, and so that always happens. Not always. Sometimes I skip. Not as frequently as I probably should, but let's get into it. Okay, we've got The Break by Katie Sise? I have no idea. After the traumatic birth of her daughter at a New York City hospital, Rowan O'Sullivan returns home to her apartment with her perfect newborn Lila. At her side are her husband Gabe and June, a part-time babysitter hired to help in any way she can. But in this time of joy, Rowan can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. She feels dread. She's breaking. Rowan's growing instability leads her to accuse June of unspeakable things, and when June disappears just days later, Rowan becomes a suspect. The nosy neighbors heard the screaming, but only Rowan knows what really happened. Her memory, since Lila's birth, her memory has been both unreliable and frightening. So I really hate when postpartum depression or whatever is masked or is like done as postpartum psychosis, which are very different things, and that like sleep deprivation makes you crazy. That's not true. So I hope this is good, but we'll see. Then we have Little Souls by Sandra Dallas. So I've really been collecting some historical fiction this month, and I'm not sure why. But this is about Colorado 1918. The First World War is raging overseas, but on the home front, people are dying too. The Spanish flu is rampant. People are dropping dead. And Letty Height, an advertising designer at a fashionable women's store, and her sister Helen, a nurse, have been trying to go on with their lives. Then one day, Ludi comes home to find a dead man on the kitchen floor and Helen standing over him with a knife. The deceased is the abusive father of a young girl they have taken in after their mother, Ludi, and Helen's tenant died of the flu. With the help of Helen's fiance, Gil, Ludi leaves the man's body in the street, hoping to disguise it as a flu victim, but the authorities have questions. Yikes. Then we have Smells Like Tween Spirit. This is a part of the Class Mom series. I think this might be the last one, and I love this series so much. I need to do a reread because I've never read this one, and I don't know if this is number 3 or 4, but I love it. Can't wait. Then we have Cul De Sac by Joy Fielding. I haven't read, this is another author that I have a couple of, but have yet to read, I think. But Cul De Sac is like all I need to know. I live on a cul-de-sac. I love suburban drama, but this is someone on this quiet, unassuming cul-de-sac will be shot dead in the middle of a sultry July night. Will it be Maggie, the perfectionist wife, or Craig, the husband who can't quite live up to her expectations? They'd packed their 2 children and fled life in California, hoping for a fresh start here in Florida, only to find the demons of the past hovering at their door. Maybe it'll be Nick, a highly respected oncologist, or his wife Danny, a successful dentist, both well-kept secrets of their own, or perhaps Julia, an elderly widow whose troubled grandson has recently moved in with her. There's Olivia and her husband Sean, having lost his job at a prestigious advertising agency. Or one of the newlyweds, Aiden and Heidi, whose marriage is already on the rocks due to his reluctance to stand up to his mother. So, quite the cul-de-sac. I can't wait. We've got like a little sorority on our cul-de-sac. Our cul-de-sac is full of young girls, which is interesting. And I mean, I'm contributing with 3 of them, so there's a lot of little girls on this court. Now, these stacks are about to topple, so I'm going to pause and come right back. Okay, now we have Crazy House by James Patterson and Gabrielle Charbonnet. You can't stop waiting for the next, or you can stop waiting for the next Hunger Games. 17-year-old Becca Greenfield was snatched from her home and thrown without reason. Interesting. There's a tag of some sort. Thrown without reason into a hellish prison known as the Crazy House. To avoid execution, she told to shut her mouth and keep her head down. She was never really good at either. Her only hope for survival is her sister Cassie to find her, that the good twin will stop following the rules and start breaking them before it's too late, because the jailers at Crazy House soon discover they made a mistake that could get both sisters killed. Yikes. Okay, but this has James Patterson style. Short chapters, alternating perspectives, big pages with wide margins. I'm going to love it, I think. I'll love the reading experience. I need to read this one physically. I haven't heard of this one. Then we have Butcher by Joyce Carol Oates. So is this a reprint or is this a new one? Joyce Carol Oates, another one of those kind of OG authors that I have never read from. So this is a novel about a woman's asylum in the 19th century and a terrifying doctor who wants to change the world. That's all I need to hear. Yikes. Sounds terrifying, but good. Now we have a nonfiction, Matriessence on Pregnancy, Childbirth, and Motherhood by Lucy Jones. So this is this is a passionately written inquiry, personal and scientific, into what happens physically, psychologically, and socially during the process of becoming a mother, and what this profound process tells us about the way we live now. So I am very ensconced in this stage of life of like pregnancy, childbirth, young moms, all that kind of stuff. And it's so fascinating to me how we all handle it so differently. And if you get on Instagram, like there's Big Little Feelings is a thing that I follow, an account that I follow on Instagram, and they'll do polls. There's multiple mom things that I follow that do polls, and everybody has such different opinions about like what was harder, transitioning from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, whatever. And all of that, like it's so interesting how our bodies are so different. Our like psychological response to motherhood is so different. How some of us love the newborn stage, some of us don't. Some of us love the toddler stage, some of us don't. And I am amazed at a woman's body as I have 3 little girls and explaining to them like how they grew and were made. I just am fascinated by the topic of motherhood, pregnancy, all this kind of stuff. So, and I've also had 3 very different childbirths. And so I'm fascinated by it. Call me a nerd, whatever. A Life Impossible, Living with ALS, Finding Peace and Wisdom Within a Fragile Existence by Steve Gleason. So I just read a fiction book about a character who suffered from ALS. And of course, like the Ice Bucket Challenge that happened years ago, you know about ALS. And this is the inspiring story of a professional football player, Steve Gleason's experience with ALS. And again, he survived for over 10 years. And I just think you can always learn from somebody suffering from a chronic illness, because it is daunting to be in pain, to know you're deteriorating, like all of that is hard. And I hope I can learn something from this. Then we have Love Mom, Inspiring Stories Celebrating Motherhood. So Amazon had like a buy 2, get 1 free, or I don't know. So this is just little inspiring stories about motherhood, and I like it. Every mom has a story, and the ones you're about to read in Love Mom come straight from the heart. So again, I love stories, fiction and nonfiction about motherhood. Then we have one last nonfiction, Coming Home by Brittany Griner. And this is about, WNBA player. Now, my husband, this is one that I got from the publishers, and I don't really remember this, but it's 2022. Brittany arrives in Moscow ready to spend the WNBA offseason playing for the Russian women's basketball team. And she shares the harrowing full story of her sudden arrest days before Russia invaded Ukraine, the bewilderment and isolation while navigating a foreign legal system during her trial and sentencing, and her emotional and physical anguish as the first American woman ever to be detained in the IK2 prison camp while the We Are BG movement rallied for her release. So she was she was arrested for mistakenly carrying less than 1 gram of medically prescribed cannabis oil. So I am really interested to hear her story. Now, I thought that was it, but I'm wrong. I see a whole nother stack over here. So let me grab it, and we're almost done. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay, last stack. Let's do this. So we've got The Moment I Met You by Debbie Johnson. So I know the beginning of our story, but I have no idea how it ends. Alina Goodwin could never have known that her dream holiday to Mexico would change her life forever. She thought that she was in charge of her own destiny, but on a gorgeous summer evening, her whole world is ripped from her feet in a single moment. 10 years later, she still can't forget the face of the stranger who held her while everything she knew was destroyed. Thrown back together again, Alina starts to uncover the truth around that fateful night and question whether she made the right decision all those years ago. She met him for only a moment, but maybe it's not too late. So, sounds sweet. Then we have Emily Liebert, another author that I think is so underrated. I really love her books. So this is Perfectly Famous, and it says, Sarah Pekkanen says, the ending packs a huge surprise you won't see coming. So this is about, a journalist obsessed with finding a crime novelist who disappears after a deadly attack on her beloved daughter. So Liv Constantine blurbed this, and I really like her. And it's got a book club reading guide, which I feel like I like those books almost always. Not that I don't know. Bumped by Megan McCafferty. So this is a virus has swept the world, making everyone over the age of 18 infertile. Teenagers are now most prized members of society, and would-be parents desperately bid for conception contracts with the prettiest, healthiest, and smartest girls, cash college tuition, and liposuction in exchange for a baby. 16-year-old Melody has scored a record-breaking contract with a rich couple, and she's been matched with one of the hottest bumping partners in the world, the genetically flawless John Doe. But her luck is about to run out. She discovers she has a sister, an identical twin. Harmony has grown up in a strict religious community and believes her calling is to save Melody from her sinful intentions. All Melody wants is to meet John Doe and seal the deal, but when a case of mistaken identity destroys everyone's carefully laid plans, Melody and Harmony realize they have much more than DNA in common. So it says sharp, funny, and thought-provoking. This futuristic take on teen pregnancy is compellingly readable and scarily believable. So this is a YA dystopian, but funny is not something I would have guessed, but we'll see. Then we have, and Then There Was Me by Sadiqa Johnson. So she's the one who wrote Yellow Wife, and I loved that book. So this is, Bia and Wilde have been best friends from the moment Wilde threw her 14-year-old self across Bea's twin-side bed as if they had known each other forever. Bubbly, adventurous Wilde taught sheltered, shy Bea how to dress, wear her hair, what to do with boys. She even introduced her to her husband in college. Bea wrestles with self-esteem and serious addiction. Then Lonnie plops the family Lonnie is her husband, in a New Jersey upper-class suburb, which lacks diversity that Bea craves, but has the school district and zip code that Lonnie wants. The demands of carrying a third child and fitting into this new environment while pretending that her husband's not cheating on her again are more than she can handle. And just when she thinks things can't get any worse, the ultimate deception snaps the thread that was holding her life together, and it all comes tumbling down. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see what a contemporary story from her is like. Then we have another one by her, which is Second House from the Corner. How far would you go to protect your marriage? Felicia Lyons struggles to sprint ahead of the demands of motherhood while her husband spends long days at the office. When the children won't stop screaming her name or arguing over toy trucks and pretzel sticks, she sometimes wonders what it would be like to get in the car and just drive away. Then one evening, the telephone rings, and in a split second, Felicia's life is turned upside down. She hasn't been completely honest about her upbringing, and her deception forced her to return to her childhood home, where she must confront the family demons and long-buried secrets she thought she left behind. Okay, then we have The Secret Mother by Shalini Boland. So her books are always short, and these are like very bright white pages. I don't know if you can tell, but this is Tessa Markham comes home to find a child in her kitchen. He thinks she's his mother, but Tessa doesn't have any children, not anymore. She doesn't know who the little boy is or how he got there. After contacting the police, Tessa comes under suspicion for snatching the child. She must fight to prove her innocence. But how can she convince everyone she's not guilty when even the closest to her are questioning the truth? And she doesn't even trust herself. So, unreliable narrator, okay. Then we have, The Restoration of Celia Fairchild. Somebody told me about this recently. I saw this on a channel. I need to keep better track of where I hear about things, but this is about Marie Boswick. By Marie Boswick. So this is, sometimes the perfect family isn't the one you're born with, it's the one you make with the people you love most. Found family, I love it. So Celia Fairchild, known as the advice columnist Dear Calpurnia, has insight into everyone's problems except her own. Bruised by the end of a marriage she thought was her last chance to create a family, she throws herself into showing she's perfect adoptive mother material. But when proving she can provide a stable home and income is tough, especially after losing her job, selling the house she inherited from her recently departed estranged aunt may be her only shot at motherhood. So she returns to Charleston and she realizes that her aunt kept a secret. She'd become a hoarder and the house was a wreck. Selling it will require a big makeover. The task seems overwhelming, and the help of new neighbors and an unlikely friend, a woman friend who helps her and stuff. A strange family, all that kind of stuff. So found family, gonna love it. Then we have The Wishing Bridge by Viola Shipman. This is about a girl. Why did I buy this? This was a Pango book, I think. Once the hottest mergers and acquisition executive in the company, Henrietta Wagner, can see the ambitious and impossibly young up-and-comers gunning for her job. When Henry's boss makes it clear she'll be starting the new year unemployed unless she can close a big deal before the holidays, she impulsively tells him she can convince her aging parents to sell Wagner's, their iconic Frankenmuth, Michigan Christmas store. So she goes home to try to get them to do that. Then we have the McAvoy Sisters Book of Secrets by Molly Fader. So this is blurred by Jill Shalvis, Carolyn Brown, and Jamie Brenner. So it's been 17 years since the tragic summer the McAvoy sisters fell apart. Lindy, the wild one, she left home and went to a city and never looked back. Delia, the sister who stayed, became a mom. And yeah, that's it. The two of them, their mom's health is ailing, and now Delia has a rebellious teenager, and they're going back. They try to put their family back in order and reclaim what's been lost over the years. So, sounds good. Then we have Millicent Glenn's Last Wish by Tori Whitaker. Let's see. Karen White and Jenna Bloom both blurb this. Millicent Glenn is self-sufficient and contentedly alone in the Cincinnati suburbs. As she nears her 91st birthday, her daughter Jane, with whom she's weathered a shaky relationship, suddenly moves back home. Then Millie's granddaughter shares the thrilling surprise that she's pregnant. But for Millie, the news stirs heartbreaking memories of a past she kept hidden for too long. Maybe it's time she shared something too. Millie's last wish: for Jane to forgive her. 60 years ago, Millie was living a dream. She had a husband she adored, a dog of her own, a precious baby girl, and another child on the way. They were the perfect family. All it took was one irreversible moment to shatter everything, reshaping Millie's life and the lives of generations to come. As her old wounds are exposed, so are the secrets she's kept for so long. Finally, revealing them to her daughter might be the greatest risk a mother could take in the name of love. And then we've got The Aviator's Wife by Melanie Benjamin. So I've heard about this too. It's been a while, but this is about Anne Morrow, a shy college senior with hidden literary aspirations. She goes to Mexico City to spend Christmas with her family, and she meets Charles Lindbergh in 1927, fresh off his celebrated 1927 solo flight across the Atlantic. So, yeah, the two marry, and now I've read other books about the Lindberghs, and the Nanny one is one of them. But yeah, I am really intrigued by this whole relationship, whole situation. So that is everything that I hauled for May. Notice I didn't talk about any middle grade because at some point I'm going to have a middle grade haul. It's not quite as big, but it's not dainty. So here's to June being a smaller haul month. I don't know. Sometime here in June you will see my library book haul. Hopefully later this week or next. Because, yeah, I've got a lot of books to read, guys. A lot of books to read. My 2 years, 3 years from now self in the revisit is going to be stressed out. So thank you so much for watching. If there's any of these that I should prioritize, let me know. There's quite the options. So, yeah, let me know. And as always, any of the unhaul books, if you want them, they're on Pango. My store is always linked down below. Yeah, we'll make it work. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Well, it's much later in the day and we are outside and it's like 1,000,000 degrees. And so, but I came to put all these books away and I found a few more. So we've got Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, How to Heal from Distant, Rejecting, and Self-Involved Parents. This is a book that somebody recommended me just as being an adult. And I don't know, I thought this sounded interesting, so we'll try it. Then we have a Little Faith by Mitch Albom. I have liked Mitch Albom in the past. And so in the beginning, there was a question, will you do my eulogy? As is often the case with Faith, I thought I was being asked a favor. In truth, I was being given one. So I don't really know anything about this. So if you do, let me know. Then we have Teach, Creating Independently Responsible Learners. I actually won this in a giveaway from a channel that I follow, a homeschool channel that I follow here on YouTube. And so, yeah, I'm really, really excited. We are living in the information age. What people miss, though, is that it's not the information that's valuable. So, again, I'm given the gift of homeschooling my kids. How am I going to use it? Hopefully, these kind of books will inform me. Then we have Maya Angelou, Letters to My Daughter. These kind of things just get me emotional because I have 3 daughters. It's a book to give to one's daughter, mother, son, or father, but definitely one to be read and savored. So dedicated to the daughters she never had, but sees all around her. This reveals Maya Angelou's path to living well and living a life with meaning. Here in short, spellbinding essays are glimpses of the tumultuous life that taught Angelou lessons in compassion and fortitude, how she was brought up by her indomitable grandmother in segregated Arkansas, taken in at 13 by her more worldly and less religious mother, grew to be an awkward 6-foot-tall teenager. Yeah, I don't know. I really appreciate Maya Angelou and really want to read this. Then last is Kate Baer poems. I think I alluded to the fact that I bought all these, but we have And Yet, What Kind of Woman, and I hope this finds you well. And Yet and What Kind of Woman have some of the best poems that I have ever read in my life, and I'm not a poetry person, so definitely recommend these. This one is more just like blog responses. Didn't love it, but I bought it before I read it, and so it's fine. But yeah, these two, highly, highly recommend. So now that's really all that I bought for May. Oh, goodness. But anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.